pride that on behalf of the local tonight I would like to introduce and invite for swearing in those new members of Sandy Alexander Offset. This shop had been worked on by several officers over the years, in fact the last 10 years, and the local was very much interested in this shop becoming part of our family because it is a shop that does a fine grade of lithography. It is a competitive shop in the area, and it's very important to all of us and to themselves to be a contract shop. And we would like to welcome them.
A factory is, absolute power. I mean, there is no democracy, zero democracy in a factory. I mean, you have no rights, no legal rights even. You have zilch. And we need to have some kind of power to mediate between us and these forces. A union is the only thing that is available to us. Unfortunately, it's the only option.
Before you can proceed any further into this association, it is necessary for you to take upon yourself a solemn and binding oath. Are you ready to do so? All right, would the membership rise?
I mean, everybody talks about they'll walk out, they'll support each other. That always exists. I mean, there is this sense of unity and of responsibility to each other. But without a union, you have nothing. You have no power. At least there's abstractly, even if it's only abstractly, there's a trade union movement which you can call to your aid.
Here assembled, I do solemnly promise that I will stand to...
In the last few weeks, I've become more open to the possibility that the guys that are talking so anti-union and are so defeated and so nihilistic are right. I leave that open. Maybe they're right, and maybe it's hopeless. And the odds are so insurmountable. The only way to deal with this is as an individual, get out there, get what you can. Now, I don't want to believe that at the moment.
Duly qualified and entitled to receive same.
My strategy and my understandings of this and my feelings are going to change. They change every day. I was more of an ultra-leftist before. Unions were enemies. I mean, generally, the unions and the bosses, they're one and the same thing. And in the end, that's what the left says. And there's a certain truth in that, but a very limited one. And you can't live by it.
I do most solemnly and sincerely promise and swear. Congratulations, brothers and sisters.
Printing is an ancient trade with a long history of both technical innovation and militant craft unionism. The artisan traditions of the printers and the privileges they enjoy have long distinguished them from other workers. Today, however, the craft mentality of printers is increasingly out of step with everyday realities. The old family firm is giving way to corporate management. Craftsmanship, already diminished, is threatened with extinction by the development of computerized technologies. At the same time, the current economic crisis magnifies the worker's sense of insecurity. In 1979, at Sandy Alexander, a New York City printing firm, the workers brought in a union as a measure of protection against these ominous trends. This film will explore the unionization drive and something of its outcome. In so doing, it will also reveal something about working-class consciousness throughout contemporary America. The basic problems faced by the men at Sandy Alexander are similar to those of wage earners in all sectors of the economy. So too are the questions they raise about their work, about their employers, and about themselves.
Me and Jimmy. You met Jimmy, right?
Mm-hmm.
We used to work the Tuesday night shift. Like, everybody was sharing one night a week of the night shift because they couldn't hire a night guy because strippers are very hard to find, right? So me and Jimmy were working Tuesday nights very late. So since about, I guess about February, we were doing this, right? So every night we sit around and we say, what are we gonna do? I mean, this is awful. You know, we can't do this anymore. This is horrible. And Jimmy said, why don't we bring in a union, you know? And of course, that was always my idea too. Every place I ever worked, I want to bring in a union. I mean, I don't know why. I just came, you know. It's like, whenever you go to a job, it's the first thing you think about. You want to bring in a union, you know. But it never happens. But we used to sit around Tuesday nights. The two of us were the only two people in the plant, in our department, you know, and all the guys out in the presses were there to make a new plate, or if they have any problems on the presses, we're there to service them. So we talk about it. So spring went on and the summer came, and we said, all right, after the summer, right, we're going to bring in a union, that's all. He went down, he saw his brother-in-law, who was a delegate or something from some other place, and he got all the books, and we were reading them on Tuesday nights and whatnot. And we said, as soon as vacation is over, we'll bring in the union. Because there was all kinds of issues in the spring. They took away 2 sick days, because they decided they wanted to close the plant the day after Christmas and the day before New Year's, and they took away 2 sick days arbitrarily. They used to pay people to take religious holidays, like Good Friday and the Jewish holidays, and one day they just abolished that. And there was little, this was in the spring. They announced it, posted it on a bulletin board. And so everybody was very upset. And this Herb Alexander came in, who was the boss, $100,000 a year salesman. And he came in and he gave this big speech, and everybody felt better. And then about a half an hour after he left, everybody realized he didn't say a thing, but they felt better. And the thing, it was dissolved. It was the end of it. But anyway, around middle of July, they installed these time clocks over everybody's light table and over every press, and by the camera department, the plate department. They installed time clocks, which worked in conjunction with a computer system, a $50,000 computer system called Stewie the Printer's Helper. And this thing is supposed to rationalize their business for them, right? You punch a card all day long. Everything you do, you punch in and out. You know, when you're working on a job, you punch in, you punch out. When you clean your glass, when you go to the bathroom, when you answer the telephone, you're supposed to punch. They came in, I mean, everybody got freaked out. I mean, it changes the way you work, right?
So it's not just in the morning and out at night. It's
No,
like
that's the way it
every
was.
little routine you got to punch.
Right. You didn't even have to punch out for lunch before, you know. This used to be a small business with one multi and a 29 press or something. Herb Alexander was, the boss, and if you needed $10, he lent you the money, all right? Now it's a multi-million-dollar business. I mean, over the years, it became incredible, and they sold it to Micklebury Biscuit Company that makes pot sausages and some cookies or something. I don't know what they make. Herb Alexander doesn't even own the place anymore. The first reaction is this thing is, we're going to lose our jobs because these clocks are going to figure out all the time that we waste, all the overtime that we steal, and all, it's going to know, like, if I do a job one day, it takes me 3 hours, and it takes me 5 hours the next, it's going to know. It's true, it does. It's all recalled. And the bosses were in, they did it in a very heavy-handed way, but later on, it got back to them, there was some kind of a rebellion going on.
But one thing I want to get clear is you had to punch in and out. I mean, this clock didn't have any way of monitoring you.
No, you have to do it. Oh, there was some guys that said, oh, we can beat this. We can beat it. And sure, you can get a system for it. There's no question about it. But initially, it was like you were sweating because it was a clock right over there. It's an insult. I mean, guys think, we're craftsmen. I mean, this is the whole, you have to remember, there's this whole You know, everybody's susceptible. I mean, this is the way we're paid, is what craftsmen, we know our job, especially strippers. You know, pressmen I suppose too, but strippers in particular, I'm a stripper, so I know that, right? We have this attitude that we're the brains of the printing industry, you know. They pay us because we understand the whole process from start to finish.
And in a slow
Completely
period, but also in a slow period, you're going to screw off a lot more than when...
Yeah, they give you the job, and you give them the job when it's finished, and the way you do it and how long it takes you is your business. Well, there were scenes like the electrician, there was a lot of stuff with the electrician. He installed the clocks and he put it on the switch, on the power line, that at night when they shut the lights off, the clock goes off, so you come in the morning and it's still 12 midnight, you know. So this went on for, for a couple of days, and finally the production manager got panicky because he saw the clock was at the wrong time, and he came running in with the electrician. He installed it. He thought people had been tampering with the clock, and he installed a plug with a lock on it. You know, he didn't ask anybody anything. He just came right. He didn't know that the thing was on the main circuit breaker. So when they shut the lights in, so everybody was insulted. You know, he put a plug with a lock on it. You know, the guys were incredibly insulted. And that night, there was beginning to be talk of sabotage. You know, the next day we came in, the clock was in a garbage can in that room. It was in a I bought postcards in a bookstore. It was a Woody Guthrie drawing, punching the clock with a guy punching the clock. And I gave everybody one, and they all taped it on their clocks. It's still up. I have to admit that I was the least militant of the bunch, you know. I'm saying to myself, I know I want to destroy this clock because it's like driving me bananas, because I'm working like a lunatic. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder at the clock. Everything I do, I'm aware of time is passing, you know. And it's driving me nuts, and I hate it. I know I'm going, and I'm also thinking to myself, is it worth it to go to jail? You know, I mean, it was the beginning. It was very emotional. Everybody's thinking like this. But I said to myself, no, you can't do this. You destroy the clock. The next day there's another clock, and there's another guy at your light table too. So that doesn't mean anything, you know. So I'm being an old radical from the 60s and shit. What? We were gonna, one guy wanted to sell the clocks. He figured they were $200 a piece. There was like, everybody had different ideas, you know. So there was a big, I remember, this went on for about 2 days. And then the third day, there was lunchtime. Everybody's sitting around. So I remember I brought a sandwich in because I knew it was going to be important that day to be there at lunch. And everybody's talking, and I remember me and Jimmy, who had been talking about, you know, it was only July now. Me and Jimmy both said, look, there's only one way only one thing we can do. You want to really get to them? Bring in the union. That's it. You want to really hurt them. You know, and that was what the issue was. The guys were saying, they treat us without any respect at all. They put these things on, they didn't consult us. They got the nerve. I mean, this incident with the plug was a very important thing, you know. Where did they get the balls to treat us like this? No respect at all. You want respect, me and Jimmy said, go to the union. Now, like I said, I mean, this was like, I've been saying this all along, but nobody wanted to hear about it, you know. And I was even doubting myself that I was making any sense, because of the general antipathy to the union. It's an incredible bad reputation in the trade.
You had it too.
And everywhere I've been in the trade, I never heard anything nice about the union.
As far as I'm concerned, this union, I've been in and out of it twice. It's never done anything for me except to hurt me, financially or otherwise. And
Be different to use a whip, don't you?
yeah, it's a matter of standing still, and to me, I'm very sensitive about government controls, and that's the equivalent of accepting government controls, and I don't accept that. I don't buy it. I never did, and I probably never will. In other words, it's something like wage guidelines, and I don't care to be sold out. It's that simple. I do my own negotiating. I've always come out way ahead of the game, and I intend to continue doing it.
Right on.
And the guys in my department, as I said, were the core of opposition eventually to the union, even though they started the whole thing. And the press room was more or less 100% for the union.
People started talking about against the union and in favor of the union because they felt a lot of things were changing in the company. And they felt that we would have to band together in a unionized way so that we can be protected. And this is all how it started. I mean, there was a lot of disagreement among the men and a lot of changes. But there's still only a few persist that the union is no good. But I think it is good. And eventually, in my field, which I'm only classified as an operator, even though I can be an apprentice pressman, it protects me in a way that I can either leave the job and go to another place and work, and I won't lose anything. I still be under the same benefits, insure my family, and earn my salary.
So the boss was saying, how can you trust these guys? They're gangsters, the union. You know, this was his argument. They're gonna take your money, they're gonna, you know, we've been a family, he says. I've been good to you, we've grown together, and now you want to bring in outsiders.
One of the management, he told me, this place don't want union. I told him, in that case, I can do without it. But after a month working with Sandy Alexander, I find out that the people wanted the union. So I was always a union man all my life, and I decided I vote for the union.
This is not the first time that there was an attempt to unionize this plant. Every time it's been defeated by the prep department. This time, because of the new element, which is the clocks, prep department started the campaign, and because of a couple of new members, young guys, Jimmy and I, we changed the balance in numbers in the plant, and we won the election. The 10 to 19 is not terribly, it's not a terribly strong vote, really, and it could have gone the other way.
The funny thing is that the whole story started with the introduction of the clocks.
Yeah, well, I wasn't there. I was away.
Basically, yeah.
I was out sick.
And somehow the clocks have been totally forgotten in the process.
Yeah, but just another way of checking on you. You know, like Marty said, big brother watching it. He doesn't want to be involved with anybody telling him what to do and when to do it.
The clocks
Well,
are the union, yeah.
Basically, everybody feels that way. And the clocks are somebody telling you what to do and when to do it.
I mean, one of the problems now is I'm being called a radical, right? I'm still pissed off about the clocks. I remember them as being the original impulse for bringing the union. And they've died as an issue. And I was told last week by my friends, my coworkers in my department, when I won the election for the negotiating committee, I was told, don't bring up any radical stuff in there when you go inside, like the clocks, you know. And I said, you have very short memories, you know. You remember why, you know, you're the guys that went down there and started this whole thing over the clocks. I said, now you're telling me it's a radical issue.
What do you mean time clocks? What, they're going to time when you're...
Computer, no, it's a matter of cost analysis.
Oh my God, something new?
Well, my feeling is they have every right to do that.
Oh, I'm not saying that, but what's the purpose of it? I mean, just for cost analysis?
Yeah, to see which way costs were going. To enable them to immediately pick up the cost of a job. No, this is common practice.
Well, didn't they have that before?
No, well, there was in a sense, but it wasn't quite the same.
You mean they estimated? And
Well,
now they
it's an
want it down
estimate.
from A to B to C and down the line? Is that what they want?
Yeah, in other words, at each stage, what it cost.
And then what does that mean? Does it mean then that if you don't do it within a certain amount of time, there are going to be repercussions?
Possibly, it can be used for that, sure.
But it's just that it seems to me that it's...
No, this is...
You know, everything's
yeah.
being categorized, put into a little pigeonhole, and...
That's true. The company has also grown in size, it's become bigger, and you do need that control.
But is that throughout the plant?
Throughout the plant.
Were they losing money?
No.
All
no,
right, so?
No. But it's
It's in the front, not only to the stripping department, but to your estimating department.
yeah, it happens to be a handy tool, a management tool. I agree with it. I can't knock it.
You
Because it's
agree
been
with
done.
these time things?
Well, if it's there, it's there. I didn't find it, you know, they have a right to do it.
Yeah, no, but
However, it was done, it was taken as a calculated insult. You see, there could have been better ways of doing these things. It was a kind of a steamroller thing. And you're not dealing there with people who are going to be steamrolled over
But these
and
are
set off tempers.
But these are professional people, and I think you should deal with them on their level, not...
Slightly different level. I think...
And because they earn a higher salary, well, they've earned it.
Yeah.
It's
well,
as simple as that. And you're not going to pay that kind of salary. You're not going to get that kind of people. You're not going to get that kind of work put out. And you get lower salary people who do not have the knowledge or the know-how, and it's going to go down in any case. I mean, you get what you pay for, and that applies to anything. Makes no difference whether you buy something or whether you sell something or whether you work at it. It's the caliber of people. It's not
yeah, well, they're
quantity, it's quality. That's
there it's a matter of something that probably just backfired and there's no way that it can be corrected. And it's just another situation that...
yeah, that's too bad.
We had a boss in there. He's still in the company, and he's one of the best. You can't have any better. And from what I've heard and from what I understand, he sold out and he's not the owner anymore. Since the takeover of the other bosses, I haven't been inside the office to talk to any of them. They come out, they say hello to the men and so on, and we see each other and we say good morning, good afternoon, whatever. But as far as me being inside the office with them and talk to them, no, I haven't. Not like with the old boss. And everybody have talked at one time or another with the old boss, which is Herb Alexander. And there was not two ways about it. He's one of the best. I mean, if he was there, definitely, I myself would have tell you, if I knew that he was going to be there, I myself would have voted against the union.
We could talk to him, you know, like a father. He was like a father to us. You know, you can talk to him, you know, with this problem to him, and, you know, he tried to help you out.
He started fading out. And because he was fading out, everybody became a little shaky. Now, you got to find a little bit more something sturdy. So you had to go to the union. But if you didn't, you'd be sitting there wondering, where am I going to go now? They don't want me to do this and this and this. Do I want to put up with it? If you got the local, and there's 8,000 men behind us now, and we're not alone. Where before, when Herb left, in the sense he did, you were sitting there wondering, well, we got no paper towels, we got no blanket wash, what's next? No job, you know. So where are you going? With 8,000 men out there telling us where we're going, there's no sweat. If somebody can handle the job, you know, no matter where you go, you got to do the dishes. I told Sandro one morning, he was having a cup of coffee, and he says, you know, Billy, says, I can't figure it out. Why did they go union? I said, well, you're probably, Alan Selma.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm looking up at him.
You're one of them, the reason why.
No, I said, Alan, after all, I said, you know, this was a family. And if you know what a family is, you have children, and they grow up. And you anticipate them doing and doing and doing. But unfortunately, they meet a girl, and away they go. And you're still there doing and doing. Well, that's what's happened here. Everybody's grown up, and the economy demands more and more and more, but you ain't giving us more and more. You tell us we're going to get more, but it looked like everything was going downhill.
The shop used to be an easygoing, nice place to work. It's not any longer.
And how do you explain that?
Well, now you get the feeling that everybody's watching you, everybody's waiting for you to make a mistake, and it's a very uneasy feeling. Right, it's a very hostile place.
Is it in the name of better production? Or?
Yeah, they claim that they're trying to get more production, they're trying to get more money, and they're trying to, you know, for everybody to benefit. But
and you think that's the way to do it?
no way. I think the other guy had the right idea before he left, Herb. He was, you know, like a regular guy. You could talk to him. You can go in his office whenever you felt like it and talk to him. Today, you don't know who the boss is.
Yet he fought the union and you voted for the union.
Sure he fought it. As a boss, I don't blame him. It's costing him like $400,000 a year more or something. I don't blame him. I would fight it too if I was in his position. But I think it's better for the men, regardless of what Jack thinks.
No, it's really costing the management more?
That's what they call, yeah, oh, it's got to. It's got to.
What, the union?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It has to cost
$400,000 in the third year of the contract is
Right.
their figure.
Right.
I think it's probably accurate.
My
Within
feelings
reason,
are,
yeah.
if it costs the management more money,
Costs you more money.
no, if it costs the management
Us.
more money for any reason, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to it's going to do more for me. I feel that way. It's going to do more for me 30, 35, 40 years from now or something to that effect.
Well, all right, I just got a check today, during the week in the mail for $400 and change, which I had to turn into the company because they did me the honor of paying me while I was out sick.
Right.
Okay. If I was in the union, I wouldn't worry about that. I know I'm going to get it. I don't have to kick back to nobody or, you know, whatever the situation was.
Well,
They go around telling everybody, when he wrote up them papers, he wrote up that I paid this guy out of the goodness of his heart. No, he didn't, because he knew he was getting it back.
Oh, yes.
No, well,
Thing that
but he
had
didn't
to
write
do-
it that way. He wrote it that he was doing me a favor.
Well, he might, I can't argue that with you.
And nobody did me a favor. I had to pay it back.
My contention is seriously that if I was in a position of management of some sort,
Yeah.
or an owner, if I wasn't providing for you, and I could make it look like I was providing for you, I would do that.
That's what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah, I would do that. I would do that myself.
Sure, everybody would.
Also, I would want to make, like, the introduction of the clocks. I understand them. I'm not concerned about them, not worried about them. My feelings are that if I have a business and I'm in charge of it, whether I own it or I'm just in charge, my first priority is to make as much profit as I can. Now,
They did that in the coal mines years ago, too.
No, you have to understand something now. That's true.
Speak to me. Speak to me.
My personal way of doing
It's
things.
back to my personal way of hooray for me and how would everybody else.
No.
Yes, it does.
No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah. I want as much profit as I can. If you die, I get another horse.
No.
Right.
See, no, I'm saying it in a different way. I want as much, I'm saying it like the way I work, the way I make a living.
Go ahead.
Okay?
Speak to me.
It's the same way. And it's this. If I own the company, I want to make as much money as I can. But the way I am and the way I would do things is without antagonizing people and also with giving them the best salary
And
that
you can't make
You get away with as much as
money
you
for
can,
you.
in other words, right?
No, I didn't say that. What I said was, I want to do the best for them, I want to do the best for me.
Why you want to do
It's
the best?
impossible to do both if you're the boss.
No, it's not impossible.
It is, because
No,
you're
no,
looking
it's
at,
not.
if a policy, any kind of
I wouldn't
insurance
take away, I
policy,
wouldn't take away. I wouldn't want to take away from anybody, but I want to do the best for me, yes, I
Sure.
do.
Right.
It's a natural instinct.
So if a policy costs you $50 a man, then you can go around the corner and get it for $20 a man, but it's a little less, you'll do that. Because
you
you're
can
making
convince
more
the
for
man
you.
that it's better. yeah.
Right, you're gonna make more for
And he
you.
believes you.
And that's exactly what they were
And
doing.
that's what happened.
Well, in a sense, you have a point in a sense, but what I'm saying is that I want to do the best for me. I want to do what I can for you, the best for you that I can, right?
Throw you a bone.
No.
That's what
no.
it
Well, that's what we had, right? I mean, let's
Right.
face the facts, but we all admit
I
that.
work the same way. I work the same way. I want to do the best for me as a worker. I want to make the most I can as a worker.
Yeah.
But I also want to supply for the boss
Well,
as
you
a
have to
worker.
produce for the boss, or you're not
All
gonna
right.
be there. But who is
And I'm-
Nickelberry?
Forget them.
How could you forget?
How
him?
can
You're
you
paying
forget
your
them?
salary.
Billy, to me that's too heavy because we're not
It's not
involved.
too heavy.
we're
There
not
it is.
involved
You're not involved with Nickelberry, but they're behind the scenes. The guy behind the puppet
No.
pulling the strings, right?
Nickelberry owns what they own.
Nickelberry owns the whole damn thing, Jack.
Doesn't matter, Billy.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
They rely on the people that they put in charge.
Right, and if they say we're
Those are the
losing
people that we
money,
have to answer to.
but they say to them, hey, Herb, or Frank or whatever, we're losing money in this department. Get rid of X, Y, and Z. I don't care what they know. Get rid of them.
No, they won't
So I can save X amount of dollars
No,
a
they
year.
won't, they won't save them. That's wrong.
But they will say cut costs.
No, they won't.
And that's part of cutting costs.
No, they
Your
won't.
salary and my salary.
If they have a man on the payroll who's a worker, and
Yeah.
if they're paying him $800 a week, do you think they're gonna get rid of him because of the figure?
You better believe it.
That's the only thing
You
they
better
see.
believe it.
No, no.
You're costing them $800 a week, and if I can do the
And the-
job for
right.
4.5 a week,
That's
you
right.
can
That's
bet
what they
your
understand.
bippy you're going.
And they know there's a machine that can do the job for less
That's
than
right.
$800 a
Your
week.
initial
They
cost-
have it, as a matter
The
of fact.
initial outlay may be 100,000,
Two different
200,000, but over the
This is
course of the years, they're gonna save your salary and you're going.
Next week, we're going into contract negotiations, and I gotta make sure that the union and their lawyers bring up the things onto the table that we want brought up, you know. But I have no real sense at the moment of what actually is gonna go on in there. I really don't know. For all I know, he's gonna fight this thing still. It's gonna cost them money, and it's a fact. He might want a sweetheart contract for the first year. He might not want to pay double time. He might not want to get 4 weeks vacation after 1 year. These are things we don't have. I don't have a sense of what he's willing to give. We should go in there and shoot for it. Shoot for the works. I don't know what power I have, you know, to do that. Whether it's a possibility, you know. If it is, I will do what I can. I don't know if I have any power at all. I mean, I really am in the dark. The union has managed to keep me in the dark. And that is not something that was unintentional. It's precisely for these kinds of things that, and I have been raising issues with them that they don't want to hear. I have been doing that, and they stopped calling me, you know. The clocks and a few other things. Of course, the bottom line is what are people willing to fight for, right? I mean, that's always the bottom line. There's a lot of talk and there's, you know, this and that. People saying they want this, they demand that. And if they're willing to fight for it, I'm certainly willing to fight for it. I mean, that has not changed. I mean, I'm not a big union bureaucrat.
They don't know anything about your past history, do they?
Oh, they do, sure. No, they know I was a militant against the war, and they know that I live in Manhattan, which is a radical thing to do. You know, it is. I mean, to them, that's probably the most radical thing that I do, in fact, is I live in Manhattan. You know, I'm not afraid of Puerto Ricans. And I eat rice and beans every day for lunch, and that's probably the second most radical thing that I do.
Come on, dude, let's get the fuck out of here. The whole point of this now is to build a union. Like, you know, what we're going to do now is not, like, we're not going to bring the revolution by bringing these demands, right? I mean, like, what we want to do now is get people moving so they can start functioning, you know, like, start defending ourselves, start defending each other. We have to get kids in high schools to start understanding what's going around. You know, everybody has a feeling that something's wrong, but nobody really understands where it comes from or why. The only thing that I've accomplished from going to school for 12 years is learning that school is a waste. And now I'm learning how it should be changed. You know, the idea of school is to get us adapted to going out into the society, you know, and get, you know, like the society system in school, so that when we graduate, we're ready to go to business and every day at 9 o'clock.
What a day. What a freaking day. Oh man, I've had a headache for 2 days. You wouldn't believe it.
So it went on all day today.
6 hours yesterday, 3 hours today. We're finished, we got a contract. I thought I was gonna get hung tonight, I'm telling you. It's a very interesting situation. We got a contract and, you know, we got what we went after, really.
Follow me into the kitchen, don't.
in 3 years, we have the whole package, the whole ball of wax, as Sinkai says. And the overwhelming majority of people did real good, you know, there's no question about it. But we also went easy on them, you know, and every time we gave something, it felt like we were giving something up. I mean, it was, you know, it was like a pain. We didn't get everything now, right away. And it's an interesting situation, Jesus Christ, interesting.
You just come out of it.
Yeah, you see, I don't look very happy. It's not exactly
No, you left.
thrilling experience, no. No. Today, we had one point that we had to discuss today. We couldn't resolve it yesterday, and we spent 3 hours on one point. Interestingly enough, it was the strippers, raises for the strippers. The company didn't want to give them nothing. And we felt they had to have something. And what they finally got, they laughed at, you know. We got them like $12.50 in the first year, and not much more in the second year. The company said we got to cut costs in that department. That's all there is to it. These guys, they're making a fortune. He said we got to bring them into line. We have to cut our costs. That's all there is to it. I mean, it became very clear what was up. This is it. He's going to cut costs in there, and this is how he's doing it. He's not going to give them raises. And we said this is unacceptable. You know, what can we? You know, they have to keep pace with inflation. You have to pay raises. Period. You just have to. You know. He also, Mel Gordon said, these guys got a racket. We paid them these type of wages because we weren't paying union benefits. He said this. He said, we could afford to give them money to put in their pocket because we weren't paying for this. He said, now they think they can bring in the union and get those wages plus this. He says, they're kidding. He says, they started this whole thing. Apparently they don't understand that these are the guys that voted against the union. They remember that these guys started it. He said, they got a racket, these guys. You know, we're not buying it. And he had been very easygoing, Mel Gordon, during the whole thing. Frank Stiller it was like a Mutt and Jeff team, except I don't know if it was an actor, if it was authentic. He was the one that saying, oh, come on, Frank, give it to him, let him have it, give it to him. And Stiller's going there, you know. Stiller's the one who's banging the table and, you know. But at that, you could see it in both of their faces. And we said, look, these guys are going to leave. He said, let them leave.
I just lined myself up a job, which is...
You just been looking for a job?
What?
You just come back from a job?
I just did, yeah. In fact,
so did Dave.
We just finished negotiating, and I negotiated myself $150 more a week. It's that simple.
Maybe that's 10 hours in.
What?
You can leave 10 hours.
Yes, I intend to give them notice
You
tomorrow.
will now after this film comes out.
What? Choice. There's no choice in the matter.
Of course.
Because I don't intend to come under their control. And in a way, what I'm doing is it keeps the standards up.
Beautiful.
You know?
Beautiful.
You got a market situation where these guys can leave a job and the next day be working somewhere else. I mean, there's freelance work in the trade, off the books, for $20 an hour at this point. You were talking about, these guys have a lot of freedom in that sense. It's unheard of. I mean, it's you know. I was making $12 an hour cash off the books after 3 years experience in this business. It's unheard of, and I had more money in my pocket, you know, when I was doing this than I knew what to do with. It's unbelievable. I can't argue that these things are worth money. You can't make that argument. It's not in their pockets. And of course, these are the kind of benefits that in some way, they're not worth it to you until you need them. You know? And these guys have this certain arrogance and self-confidence, if you want to call it that, you know. They don't feel that they need them. They want that cash. They want the big money.
Myself, I want it now. I want to make it now. I want to have it now. I'm not concerned about that far ahead. Because by that time I feel if I'm going to start enjoying it then, I'll be looking at the world either from a stretcher or a wheelchair. You know, it's too far in advance for me. I don't want to be limited. I don't want to have a daddy telling me that, well, this is it. This is what the scale's at. This is what you're going to make. I don't live that way. I don't like that. I want unlimited. I want what I deserve, what I can get.
Well, I run things like a business. I have to have X amount coming in. And I believe in a saving wage, not a wage where you exist. That's just about what it boils down to. And most union contracts today are marginal. In other words, you exist. I don't care to exist.
What about for the people who were making well under scale before the union contract went in? Can you?
I can sympathize with them. They're going to come out a little bit better. No doubt about it.
The ones that will make good with the union now is the guys that are way under scale, you know, and fellas that just come in for the last year or so. And me, I wouldn't benefit from the raises because I'm just about scale. But everything else would matter, you know, like my kids, for instance, you know, they will be insured for sickness or medicine and so forth that right now comes out of my pocket.
Even though they've had benefits in this particular shop, the benefits of the union are portable. For instance, they had a pension plan. That pension plan is only good so long as you work in that particular shop. They had a medical program, which is only good so long as you work for that employer. But the day you leave that employer and become unemployed, you no longer have any coverage. Whereas with Local 1, so you have portability.
We got ourselves a really good package in the long run. There's no question about it. There's no way that we would have made these kinds of advances without a union. And everything is in writing, and as far as that goes, that's an advance in itself. First thing was the profit sharing. They gave us exactly what we wanted on that one. And everyone in the shop will be 100% vested. So everyone's going to get a nice piece of change out of that. And they'll get it in the spring. On the clocks, Syncada did what we asked. There will be a clause in the contract that says the clocks will not be used for disciplinary purposes. I mean, of course, everybody's pissed off about something. We didn't get everything. Everybody wants everything. We really wanted raises. I mean, inflation is way up there, and even a $25 raise, which is all we were asking for, is not even going to keep these guys at pace with inflation. But couldn't get it.
It's a matter of economics. Nobody was looking for the best contract in the world and putting a man out of business. It was a matter of fact to get increases in periods so as that the company could adjust their prices to accommodate for their increase in their labor instead of giving it all in one shot. And this, of course, is satisfactory to the men and satisfactory to the company.
The negotiations are operating under one basic premise, which is that the company has to remain profitable and competitive. Now, when you operate under that premise, you're limiting yourself tremendously. I mean, everybody wants everything, of course. I mean, we want everything, but you can't tell the boss, look, so, you know, get rid of your Mercedes, get rid of your fleet of Mercedes. You can't do that. I mean, you're operating within a certain set of limits.
We have a good relationship with management. Over the years, we have worked out our problems. They understand our problems, and we try to help them to be competitive so that they can keep our plants going so that we can maintain our jobs.
We're in there in this sort of cooperative spirit, you know, and this is all weighing down on everything in a certain way. And the union is telling us this is great. This is what we got is beautiful already. This is fantastic. That's what God is saying. And I'm feeling like, oh my God, you know, I'm thinking about my own. What am I getting for myself? I mean, I'm thinking that too, and I got very little. I'm going to get a $15 raise in July. By then I would have gotten probably another, who knows, another 75 bucks. I mean, I was going to be brought up to this premium level as well. You know, so it was an awkward sort of a thing in that sense. But I don't think we were bullshitted, and, you know, I don't really think we were bullshitted that we got a lot out of them, and we did well.
union contract is what it is. It offers some protection against unemployment, bridges flagrant inequalities in wages, and assures its members lifetime medical and pension plans. In the case of Sandy Alexander, it also means that the workers will receive their full portion of an established profit-sharing fund now, rather than upon retirement. Yet larger problems persist, problems that the union, inasmuch as it allies itself with management, is unable to confront. For example, the coming years threaten a leap in electronic technology which will eliminate that skilled work which still exists. More immediately, even with the union, the workers of Sandy Alexander, like most American workers today, are being subjected to an ever more oppressive economy.
The more I hear, the more I'd like to be able to push that clock back to I'm 22. I don't know how I can do that.
You still got time, Bill. How old are you, Bill?
Late.
I mean, if you don't want to tell me,
I'm not going to tell you, so you shouldn't ask.
No, well, I mean...
So you want to be Jewish? No. I'm
you
up
got
there.
at least 10 years in before you retire, no?
Oh, I'm never going to retire. Get out of here. Gee, right. Retire. But just keep on going till you fall down.
Why don't you want to retire?
Well, you can't, unfortunately, because everything goes on. The taxes go on more and more and more.
No, I didn't pay any more taxes after I retired.
Well, I'll be put it to you another way. If I got 3 female ducks and I retire, them 3 female ducks could have very well by August 60 little ones. Those 60 little ones got to be fed, all right? Well, that's the way it is with our taxes, believe me, up there and where I'm at. Hi. Come on. Come on out here. Come on. Come on.
How did you get into printing connected with raising rabbits?
Oh, you got to have something to kill the aggravations of printing. And so coming out here, you can forget the world.
How long have you been in the printing industry?
Well, 30 years.
Really?
Yeah, I started with National Biscuit in Beacon, New York. And as a stock handler, 50 cents an hour. Today is a lot more, but you're still only living on 50 cents an hour because of the devaluation of the dollar. This is Holly. He's a male. It's a Harlequin. It's 3 different colors. He's my youngest, and he likes to keep him. That's the only reason I've got him. He's nice looking, though. Oh, yeah. Here. You want to eat something?
You've always lived here?
Yeah, we've been here for quite a while. Actually, about 9, 10 years. We started out in the same area, but then we felt it was better to buy a house. So we got the house. Now we're sweating out the taxes and the whole thing because things keep going up. If they were to stay reasonably the same, then we wouldn't have been too bad. But everything keeps going higher and higher, and you're not getting any more for it. You know? Huh.
Do you make any money at all out of the animals?
I don't really think you make any money because feed is running $12 a hundred. And if you in the springtime, like when all these things are full, all these coops are full, then certainly maybe you can make something as long as you don't have to pay anybody to take care of them. If you include your time, you don't really make an awful lot. No. But it's you know, this is a male. He's a good one. It's George. Hey, huh? You eat something?
Do you ever have to borrow money?
Yeah, I borrow money illegally. But I haven't got the credit to get it legally.
What do you mean?
I got a friend, and he comes across occasionally, and you make your payments properly, and you can go anywhere you want to. But when you want to go to it, getting it legally, then you have to go to the bank, and the bank dummy, and they are dummies, they say to you, do you know?
And I said, oh, yeah, I know. And I go right back down 11th Avenue, pick up anything I need, no sweat. But if you go to the bank, you got to fill out all the forms, and they check them all through a computer, and after it comes back, it says, wow, you're a bad risk, yet I'm dropping $50 a week to a friend down here. No sweat.
That's what's his name?
That's unreal.
Our friend, we'll just call him
Sure.
our friend for the sake of the
He's a
film.
good guy, yeah. I'll buy it.
Well, with the,
He's only charging 20%. I think that the prime rate's up to 19, and we're real prime, we're paying him 20. And
20 every 3 months. We
the
figured
only,
this
the only
out.
aggravation, if you don't pay him properly, you lose your shirt, you know? He'll take you out and put you in the river.
Well, we're reaching a stage now where things are sort of shaky. And, yeah, and this breeds a type of thinking. You're going to survive.
Well,
Brings out the base instinct. Look, with people, and man basically is a predator. He hunts. Well, this.
well, it's true. But I mean,
And,
the economic situation being what it is, and the
yes,
expenses
if you
being
look
what
out,
they are, and the
that-
economy being what it is,
Yeah,
you've got to think about that. It's unfortunate, but
well, you're in a situation where the technical level of things, and you are marketing your skills to the highest bidder, and I feel that way, and I always did. Never work cheap, because, all right, there may be somebody to replace me, but it'll take a while. Let's put it that way. And I'm going to push for the highest possible salary that I'm able to get. And there is no two ways about it.
I tell you, as far as taking a vacations where I can go out with my wife, I can't afford it. Even with the union that I can't afford it. It's not just a matter of union, it's just that the money's not there. The house takes too much of the time and too much of the money.
Is it getting worse, the economy?
Yes, it is. Especially now, with that oil. Now it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult. You see, around here, you take this little house, for instance. This house is in good conditions here, right? Now that house is abandoned. It was not sold, bought out by the city or anything. And you got hundreds of houses out here like that. Why? Because people can't afford to pay that gas bill or the oil bill anymore. They just can't do it. You see all this here, the same thing. And the economy is getting worse and worse.
Do you go on vacation in the summer?
we tried to go away. Last year we went up to Massachusetts, to Cape Cod, just the two of us. It was beautiful. We, not expensive because we can't afford it, but drove up, we stayed in a lovely place, walked to the beach, and I just relaxed and enjoyed. But this year we're going out to Texas because Philip is graduating, so we'll be going in August. And this is where we go shopping, right here. This is almost brand, I would say new. And we have found that the prices here at the ShopRite are the lowest around. And it's clean, and the aisles are wide enough, and it's very nice.
On Friday nights, I usually go out and start working as soon as I get out of my other job. And by maybe 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm finished. I don't work no more.
That doesn't leave very much free time, right?
It doesn't. It really doesn't. I don't have free time. There's nothing I can do about it because owning a house takes most of my time. It really does. And there's really nothing much you can do anyway.
Do you take holidays ever? Do you take holidays ever?
Do I take any holidays? Well, yes, I do. I don't work out here all the time. Sometimes when I'm caught up with my bills, then I don't work at all. Then I'll tell my wife, let me relax home and stay with the kids, or maybe I'll play some cards, or maybe I'll play some dominoes, you know, so that I can have some free time myself. I just can't work all the time and don't enjoy myself because it would be no good.
It's going to be the middle class that'll bear the burden of it. The way it is now, with taxes what they are, you're working to pay the taxes.
We've been taxed a lot, you know, what they call the middle income earners. Well, you know, it's a lot of money out of your pocket, and you don't see it again. Well, I'm doing something.
You hear him chomping on the apple from over there?
I don't wait none of you. I even need the ball.
You gotta talk to this guy here. This guy, 1928, he's been in the business. Knows the whole story.
My father went to the neighborhood business and says, I'll give you $3 a week. Just keep my son here. Keep him out of trouble. And then that's when I started. That's
you
it.
obey him, right?
$3 a week from 3 to 7 and all day Saturday.
6 days?
What was that,
3 after school.
1928?
19 when?
28. Who offset? 1928.
Yeah. When the change went, I was too old for the change.
When they start off?
I didn't want to get an ulcer.
Was your father in the printing
No,
industry?
my father was in the garment industry, pressing.
Why did he have the idea of you working in the
Well,
printing
he always wanted, he made my older brother go to the, he did that with my older brother. My older brother caught his hand in the machine. He says, I don't want to have nothing to do with it. But then when I became like 13, I was going to, 13 years old. That's right, I was 13 years old when I started. After school, 3 o'clock, I had to go to the place, but they started me not on the machines because I wasn't allowed to touch the machines. I was setting type by hand. I had to learn the case, where everything, all the letters are all in different cases. I don't know if they have a case here. No, I don't think they got any type because they got a line type machine. And I used to sit on the stool there and set type by hand and pull it, then make the corrections because they always made mistakes. So you make the corrections and then it was ready for the boss who used to put the job on the press and he used to run it. But then and in school they made me use the machine because it was a lot of safeties on it. And when it was in school, I spent more time in the printing shop than I did up in the classroom. And then the teacher says, you're not going to graduate. So I'm not going to graduate. Then there was a depression. I got a job in the city, so I took anything in the printing shop. It was in running errands. So I ran errands for 5-6 years. And then things stopped picking up. They put me on the hand press. And from the hand press, then I went on to press like this. Then the foreman opened up his own shop, and I had a steady job on the press. Boys, I did everything but sign the checks in the shop, in the office. I could sweep, I could set type, I could lock up forms, make up, put the job on the press, make it ready, get position, rule out my own jobs. And I did everything, because it was like, say like a one-man shop.
I was a pressman, and I was assistant pressman, it was a stock handler, it was a, you name it. And when you get up to being a pressman, as they designated an offset, it's not like being a pressman 15 years ago, where it was, as far as I'm concerned, an art. Today, it's a bang-bang operation. It's a hurry up, get it on, and get it off.
They were craftsmen years ago. Today, they're not craftsmen. You got to be a pants presser.
Okay, Johnny, you want to go ahead now? Poke some more?
You have to produce, you have to have quality, and everybody's demanding speed, more production, faster, put out. But the press that I'm working on right now is a brand new press. It has some features that are different from the others. It's more efficient, and it's less work, for the pressman and the crew. And it's a much faster running press, which the industry requires.
Less time, less waste, and faster. That's what they're looking now for. And less men to work in the press. Everything's money these days.
I'll say that everything is very hairy all the time. As a pressman, without the right kind of help, you can end up with an ulcer. It's like being in the circus. You're walking a tightrope, and you got to make sure everybody else knows their part. If you don't, you could slip off and fall down off that wire and forget about it. You'd be out of a job. Whoever it's for or wherever it's going is basically immaterial. You don't generally worry about that, no, because you're there to make it look good and get paid. With letterpress, it was entirely different. In letterpress, you had an engraver involved, you had big plates, and when you made register, everything fit perfect. There was no playing games. They come in and they cut the plate down and made it fit. But here you get reasonable register. Everything is relative. If it's all right, let it run.
What do you think changed it?
Cost. Give me the quality, a reasonable quality, with the fastest results. Get it on the market, sell it. The average don't understand what they're looking at. It's a matter of taking a negative and burning it into a piece of metal, sticking it on the press, making a fast couple of moves, and away you go. As long as it's acceptable, that's all it has to be. But as far as you're concerned, you can't do what you'd like to. They're holding you back because of the cost. So it's something to do every day and then forget on the weekends. That's unfortunate. But you can't be concerned about it because there are so many people ahead of you that make the decisions. All you have to do is do what you're told.
We are going to hand her this pre-exposed aqualin plate.
The lid plate has been grained and anodized by polychrome for the fine print quality for which polychrome has become famous. These are the same soldiers put inside the tank 6 days ago, and they are still alive.
Only one operator is needed for the automatic Alpha system. No film is needed, and it's automatic. Before we tell you how it works, let's first take a look at what it does and what it can do for you. The AlphaSol plate making system first saves material, secondly saves time, and thirdly multiplies the productivity of your personnel. This is a completely automatic AlphaSol plate making system, which can produce as many as 50 fresh plates.
Well, everything changes, you know. Years ago, plate maker was the top dog in the whole business. But now it changed, you know. Stripper is the top. And I do believe in a few years that'll change too.
How come?
And I hope guys like Jack ain't crying about it, but it will change.
Well,
there's a lot of machinery coming out now that'll take some of the stripping away. It's on the market right now.
This was done on this machine.
This was done on this machine.
All of this trapping and whatnot is all done by electronically.
It's all done by generating masks in the machine. This, if you look at, is actually those separations.
I trap this with this machine.
Yes, we made a cutout mask for that.
And we made a silhouette for this.
Yeah, silhouettes.
Oh man.
And basically, that's a thumbnail sketch. Now, this is the first one I have seen. I've been with the company a long time. It's pretty new to me.
Yeah.
But this page was made electronically from those color separations you see over there.
So there's no stripping at all?
No, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Hopefully there's no stripping.
Hopefully.
My function is really engineering rather than sales. It amazes me.
That's an amazing machine. Did you
Did
get a shot of this thing? This is an 8-hour job, stripping. This is it requires quite a bit of skill, right? I mean, you have to know what you're doing to strip this job. The guys we work with have no sense that what the hell is going on in this revolutionary stuff. Multi-next assembly eliminates time-consuming and inaccurate assembly work once and for all. Stripping, it eliminates it, according to this, right? See here, look. This, you get your film from the scanner, you put it over here. This is just the sketch of what you want the job to look like. You take this thing, you point it over here, you push a button, you take it and you point it over here. The machine takes this film and puts it wherever you want to put it.
Put it in this one.
You put it here.
Well, this is the first step to go here.
Yeah, whatever you got here, you can put it any place you want.
This is a laser.
This is film, laser film, right?
This is
Right,
one
that's your
separation.
film. Right.
And then from this go to here.
You can put different pieces, a half of this, a little bit of...
You separate each color individually.
Right. Just like a stripper does. A stripper takes his scissors, he cuts it up, he takes this, he tapes it over here, he cuts a mask. This machine does it. And then from here, here's the job that I saw, right? Here you put it onto the step and repeat. You gotta make a plate. And you go to the press, that's it. There's no in between, there's one operator for for the camera, stripping and plate.
Hey, my friend, you lose your job. I have never known customers to lay people off. They're probably left through attrition, but they've usually wanted more work to keep the machine going. The people have probably had to change jobs and do other things.
But they're not printers anymore, are they?
No, they're not printers, but they've still got jobs. I will need people to look after this equipment. As in the old days, when there used to be men coming around with the ice, for the ice boxes. That's no longer needed, but now there's men needed to fix the refrigerators.
That's right.
So it's a change in technology.
It's unbelievable. I wonder how our illustrious your labor union is going to deal with this.
We've been aware of this problem for many years, and we have dealt with it. When our members were displaced through technological change, we were able to retrain them into the new methods and the new equipment that has been introduced into the industry. If it was necessary for the local, in order to protect the members' jobs and their wages and conditions, if it became necessary, then the membership at that time would decide to strike. We haven't found it necessary since 1922.
I think the profit sharing is going to make everybody
We're gonna have
happy,
to
that's
get
for
dinner. I
sure.
don't get the dinner now.
Oh, yeah, well,
Am I invited or do I have to pay?
Yeah, if you don't mind eating Puerto Rican food, it's all right.
Yeah, we're having a feast.
Yeah,
We're having a
roasting the
feast.
pig.
You guys,
Yeah.
it was your
They're gonna
idea.
have
I thought it was
before
your
Easter.
idea.
I said, no good.
My idea. We go to an Italian restaurant for my idea.
Oh, but
Well, what
they're
happened?
good cooks over there. At
Yeah, he's all
Garcia's,
right, he's all right.
they're
Yeah, but-
gonna roast the whole pig to celebrate getting the profit sharing. We're having a feast. He's gonna roast the whole pig. He's gonna have make all the specialties, pasteles and green
those are
bananas
nice. Those are
and sweet potatoes and Spanish wine and everything like that.
The profit sharing, that was a primary concern of the men. They wanted that money. So that was given top priority in the negotiations by all the men. They all wanted it. So in giving that top priority, the union and the committee, okay, was successful in getting the company to approve to give everybody their profit sharing money. And if it wasn't for the union, they wouldn't have gotten it.
Oh, there he is.
Here's a pig. Look at this. Hey, you looks like Leo.
Una brindis para esta gente. Nos paramos.
Sí, nos paramos toditos. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Big English.
Everybody get a glass.
Everybody get a glass.
Everybody get some wine.
Yes, sir, Herb Alexander. Without him, this could never have been about. They're celebrating the money that they got from the profit sharing.
And what is the profit sharing?
The profit sharing was they worked for so many years, they got a percentage of whatever they made on
For
their
every year.
regular salary. And then when they were ready to retire or whatever, now that they were in union, then naturally they got their money. Everybody got their money and everybody's happy.
What does the union have to do with it?
Nothing.
Nothing.
As a union representative, we had to negotiate for the money. I think what this case to me this case to me is we had to negotiate for the money. Let's not forget.
Right.
It's true.
Well, the profit sharing.
Profit sharing was the thing. If we didn't get that, we would have been hung, and there would have been trouble.
Yeah, but they couldn't.
See, everyone knew that.
They couldn't take.
Well,
the
they could have done a few things with it, but we knew that was something that we had to come out of there with. Everything else, we knew that there would be dissatisfaction, but there wouldn't be any trouble.
I'm telling you, if you guys stick to your guns, then we get it and
It's who are we? There are 3 people in there.
What's the three?
And who's going to back us up?
We did.
You think so?
I think we did.
The company looks at the vote 19-10. They say these guys are only interested in one thing, the profit sharing. That's it.
No.
If we don't give them the profit sharing, they'll walk out of here. But anything else, they're not going to fight about. That's what the company said. That's what the union believed.
That's what the company said.
They believed this.
That's
So they didn't give us anything more than they had to give us.
Because they were brainwashed. They were smart.
They believed it.
They believe it.
They would fight.
But still,
You were going to go
if
out
you
and fight on a
wasn't
picket
there,
line?
we could.
You were going to go out on a picket line?
I
For
would.
cost of living?
Yes, I would.
You're not the majority then. Well, I agree
But
with
you
you.
don't know.
I
Harvey.
agree with you.
How you know?
I had to make a decision.
But you don't know.
But I had to make a decision.
You don't know.
But I had
You
to make
don't
a
know.
judgment. No, I don't
You
know.
don't know.
There was 50 things that we were fighting about in there. 50 things.
I don't care what it is, but that's a
The pension, the cost of living.
That's a point. That's
agree
one of the
with
major points. That's
I
one
agree
of the
with
major
you.
points.
I have to agree with you.
That's one of the major points.
Why didn't I hear anything from anybody when I was in there?
Because
Nobody was concerned at that time.
we delegate you guys to there, so we figure out that you know all the roads.
I had to make a judgment, and
Have
the
a
other 2
meeting.
guys in there had to make a judgment
But we never made
about
a
the
meeting.
will. Listen to me.
See, no,
It
no.
was not the same situation.
Never
then.
was a meeting. Never was a meeting.
No.
In the union, all concerned show.
No, there wasn't.
Close.
I didn't hear. You didn't come and talk to me once.
I could.
Why
Because-
not?
Why?
I was
went
always
one person.
there every day.
I went
You
one
would have
person.
come and yelled at me like this. I
That
might have
was
thought
one
differently.
person.
You're one person today.
So one
I'm
person.
listening to you, and I think you're right. We're living under a sweetheart contract for 3 years, and it's not easy. I mean, it's, I mean, every day you go to work and you work hard and you earn your money and you're not keeping up with inflation and you don't feel you're getting the remuneration that you expect and you think you deserve. And people are very tense over this kind of thing. And we got our profit sharing money and that satisfied people for a while. But now it's springtime, you know, we would have gotten our raises May 1st and we have to wait till July.
They're all assuming that when we joined, supposedly, nothing would change. Everything would be continued on. Whatever benefits they had, we'd get. But it won't happen. We won't have full coverage, contract-wise, until 1982.
I don't remember talking to any party about benefits and non-benefit things in the union. But when you turn around and you go to a hospital and you find out now that you got to end up paying a bill that wasn't paid before, it's not shocking, but it's not surprise either. I mean, unions are good, like I mentioned it one time before. In one way, and in another way, they can be favored. They can really be bad.
I believe that right today, if you took a vote about having the union in or out, the union wouldn't be there because I believe they'd be voted out.
It's a lot of different moods, a lot of different opinions, a lot of grievances that men complain, and they say, well, I had this before and I don't have it now. What good is the union?
For me, I feel a lot more comfortable with this contract, you know, as much as it's hurting me, because it is hurting me financially, there's no question about it. You know, I feel more comfortable with it. And of course I know that this job, I mean, I don't work for Sandy Alexander anymore in my mind. I work for Local 1, you know, and that's a good feeling too, because nobody's gonna stick it to me over there, and I'm, you know, without me going somewhere else and getting comparable or better benefits.
The union isn't going to create a better person in the sense of him doing a better job. All he's doing, all the union is doing, is guaranteeing, to a certain extent, that you're going to get a living scale without a lot of aggravation. Because a man on his own has got to go out and talk to the boss and talk to this one and bow down to most everything in order to get a halfway decent scale. Bring it in the union, and it's costing us dearly right now. Why, it's only guarantees us the fact that we don't have to go out and argue for individual raises.
And there's always the illusion, at least, if nothing more, that you can go into the office and negotiate yourself something better when you feel all this strain that people feel all the time when you're working like that. And we don't have that illusion anymore. You know, I mean, if you go into the office, and I've been in the office, and a lot of guys have been in the office, you hear, well, I can't give it to you because I got to give it to everyone. And you have a contract, and, you know, he says to me, you negotiate it, you know. And yes, I think you deserve more money, but we have to live under this contract because, you know, so you're trapped by the terms of it.
You figure on staying at Sandy Alexander?
I think so. There's no reason at the moment to think otherwise. Nothing basically has changed there because of the union coming in, other than I think that the family element is gone. Where before everyone was like up here concerned about why that fellow was out today, or the management has changed. Management has changed and is changing, unfortunately. And that was one of the reasons why we got the union, because of management's attitude changing. They're basically, you know, they're in it for their dollar. And they want everyone to give and give and give as much as they can for as little as they necessarily have to pay. And that's the way it was working. And we were getting less and less and less, even though we were getting raises because of the economy going beyond what they were giving us. So we hopefully, that when we got into the union, that in time to come, we'll be able to hopefully keep pace at the same time without having to go in there and beg for the money. But it seems that we're still not going to be able to keep pace.
Without a union contract, the majority of the workers at Sandy Alexander probably would have been worse off, given the current economic squeeze. But that's not the way they see it. What they see is that certain benefits will not come to them immediately, and that their lives have not dramatically improved now that they're in the union. For years, the workers had relied on the old boss, Herb Alexander, to guard their interests. But he looked after his own interests and sold the company, and the workers turned to the union. Problems persisted. The union was no guarantee of unity. The workers' different attitudes toward work, the union, and their lives continued to make it difficult for them to act together. For a moment, in the battle over the clocks, the men at Sandy Alexander trusted themselves and each other enough to take their lives into their own hands. But that was just a moment.
Shop Talk was completed in June 1980. A few months later, the management of Sandy Alexander attempted to lay off one of the plate makers. Upon hearing the news, the workers threatened to go to the union. The company replied that the union would be of no help since the contract did not prevent layoffs. The men met and decided that union or no union, they would walk out in support of the plate maker. 2 hours later, the man was reinstated.
If I were awarding Oscars for films about organized labor, the one you've just seen would be at the top of my list. It capsulizes more effectively and realistically than anything else I've ever come across the cross-pulls that are giving the labor movement such massive problems in this era when giant conglomerates are swallowing up family-owned businesses and automation is wiping out any usefulness for the arduously acquired skills of craftsmen accustomed to high wages and a secure place in the community. Workers in the printing trades have been special victims of this annihilative effect of the march of technology. The International Typographical Union, long the premier union in printing, traces its roots back to the American Revolution. It has written some of the proudest pages in the annals of unionism. Yet its membership is shrinking towards zero as computers and electronic terminals take over the work once done by craftsmen on linotype machines and ponderous makeup tables. The Lithographers Union, to which the workers at Sandy Alexander belong, was itself a beneficiary in the early stages of the revolution in printing technology. The offset method of composition, in which lithographers specialized, was cheaper and often superior to the use of engraving plates, hot metal, and stereotype mats, the mainstays of printing. But now, new developments in offset printing are making lithographers as expendable as printers have become. Jobs that enabled workers to earn $30,000 to $40,000 a year are being snuffed out. The union, which used to pride itself on the warm welcome it extended to advances in technology as a source of jobs for its members and of profits for its employers, is now reduced to fighting what is at best a holding action. Its leaders know that if they push too hard in collective bargaining, the conglomerates, now so predominant in every branch of industry, will close down high-cost operations in places like New York and shift their work to non-union shops, sometimes as far off as Taiwan. Little wonder that the skilled workers at Sandy Alexander are so torn about the value of a union to them. Their ambivalence is heightened by the degree to which a good many of them have become middle class in outlook. That helps explain why immediate slicing up of the profit-sharing melon loomed even bigger than the hated time clock in their priority list for their first contract. It's a long cry from Homestead, or the Pullman strike, or the Ludlow massacre. I'm Abe Raskin.